Hey kids, this is Ivan. How you doing? Well, all roads lead to Rome. All videos may lead to this one. Maybe, maybe not. So I wanted to talk about something that, this is officially going to be a video response to Blackleaf Has Other Ideas by Runeslinger, which video he probably made a few years ago. I watched this after I'd made a video about Am I a Simulationist? Probably made 2 months ago or whatever the heck it is. I'm outside at my picnic table. When I said something in the video which was then kind of, sort of contradicted by the content of that video, it's also a subject that's come up in a lot of the responses I've gotten from people either on, the Facebook Brigade page, RPG Brigade page, or, comments in the YouTube's comment section of my videos. So, and because a lot of videos lead here, I've talked about, I think recently about my DM philosophies. So I said I was going to talk more about it. So this is kind of where it's going a little bit, or one of the directions it goes. And there's another channel that, I think I was alluding to in that DM philosophies, one where listening to an argument or listening to different opposing points of view and saying, yeah, both of them have their points. So there's this guy Matthew Colville, and he has a extraordinarily popular YouTube channel, which has I think 5 billion subscribers or something ridiculous, and he's different type of content provider, but I like a lot of his videos just because the thing I like about him is he'll admit when he's made a mistake, and then he'll talk about, well, what could I have done differently about that. I don't always necessarily agree that what he did was a mistake, but he's one of those guys that has the opposing point of view. And so let's get to the meat of this subject. Somebody like Matthew Colville would say, you know what, if you have a certain idea of the way the world is, and then your players suspect it might be something else, you have a situation, and this is also, Runeslinger had this in his Blackleaf video. You have situation X. This is the way the world really is. Okay, we're simulationists, or I'm a simulationist in this video. So, in real life. So I've got this idea of the way the game world really is. I know what's really going on behind the scenes in Area X, whatever it is. However, the players come up with something, and you know what? Darn it, that's cooler than what I thought of. Now, I mentioned before in my Am I a Simulationist video that hey, maybe it'd be okay to just go ahead and do that. I certainly have changed reality behind the scenes, and they didn't know. I think they didn't know, although sometimes players can tell when you're doing this, which is a problem. Somebody like Matthew Colville would say, hey, no, that's great because the whole idea is for, you're kind of catering to not catering to your players, I'm saying that wrong, but, you want to make sure your players have a good time. They want the game to be super cool. He says it a lot. So, in his mind, it's like, that's cool to go ahead and do. But, as I'm watching the Blackleaf video, like, what's the impact of changing reality behind the scenes, your fictional reality? But remember, as a simulationist, I kind of want to have this consistent world, right? So if I'm changing reality all of a sudden, is it consistent anymore? And I think to me sometimes, what happens when I do something like that is, and I've been guilty of fudging die rolls. I've been guilty of like realizing that, oh man, the party is not going to be able to survive this encounter. It wasn't necessarily a planned encounter, but looks like they might buy it. That's not what I intended. I overestimated, how powerful whatever monster it is they come across, or whatever the situation is. And so I fudged something. I changed stuff up, or maybe it was too easy, and I decided maybe it should be a little more challenging. That kind of stuff. What does that do to the integrity of my game world in my own head? And I think there's probably two negative effects that can have. There's the one where your players kind of know that's what you're doing. The great example Runeslinger has about him jumping the Grand Canyon. You'll have to go find that video with him. It was in top secret, jumping the Grand Canyon in a rocket cycle. Did it really happen or not? Did his DM fudge the roll or not? Bothered him for a long time. I'm trying to think of an example in my own life where somebody may have fudged the roll and bugged me. And I'm not coming up with one right now, but I'm sure they're there. But is that going to screw with your players? Like, is there really risk and reward in this game, or is it, is the DM kind of fudging things? But the other negative effect I can have is just with me as a game master. Maybe you, if you value something like simulationism and wanting to have a consistent game world. If you know that you're altering reality. If you know that you're cheating in some way, shape, or form, even if it's just changing something to be more cool, that your game world loses some integrity, and so I see it that as a problem. So that's one of those things, that video I saw probably right after I made up my Am I a Simulationist video, and it had me scratching my head thinking maybe I need to reconsider that position. So food for thought. Maybe, give me your take on that. Is that something that matters? Doesn't matter? You tell me. I love that song. Not the bass line. The bass line is different, but just love that song. Take it easy.